All right, so basically market performance, your assessment of how the markets performed today?
Yeah, a look at the market today shows that the BS is still having a strong hold on the market, and this development has persisted in the last 4 weeks thereabouts. Even last week, the markets remained in the red zone, and the market cap actually lost about 2% on the whole. And even today, the same trend too continued. We had expected that the Q2 result of some corporate, organization like Zenith will have lifted the markets, but rather the market still remained in the red.
What else is driving the market, or rather holding the market back, do you think?
Yeah, ordinarily, we would have expected that as Q2 results start set to roll in, that the market should have started bouncing back, but the market has remained in the red, basically because of the inability of the regulator to resolve the ongoing banking crisis. Without the regulator resolving the banking crisis, I believe that the market will continue to experience what we've been experiencing the last 4 weeks. It's very important. And also, if you also look at the political unrest in the system and the lack of credit to the private sector, which is also a fallout of the banking crisis, these are the major issues that are going to hold the market down.
Let's talk about that banking crisis a little bit, because we are starting to see mergers and acquisitions really coming full scale. Talk of Diamond probably going to acquire Oceanic, completion of a merger agreement with FCMB and Finbank, those kinds of things. How much momentum will that give to the market going forward?
Yeah, definitely it's a good development. The TIA that Abattoir Bank signed with the rescued bank, and the news that Diamond Bank is also eyeing to merge with Oceanic Bank. We expect this to lift the market significantly in the coming months, because one thing that I've held the market back is inability of this regulator to resolve the banking crisis, and with some of these banks signing TIA, which is much more binding than the MOU they have signed earlier. It's a good development for the market, and we expect this to have a very strong impact in lifting the market up in the coming days and weeks.
Has the central bank said anything about at least continuing with interbank guarantees for the rescued banks, because that's a key component of their ability to operate once they're recapitalized?
Yes, what CBN has done in that direction is very important by agreeing to extend the interbank guarantee for any bank that signed the TIA agreement, just like what they have done for the 3 banks at the moment, extending the bank guarantee to December 31st. It's very good, because without that, you're going to see a situation where a lot of investors or even banks will not go into long-term transaction with any of those rescue banks who have not signed or gone to the level of signing the TIA. But with the CBN promising to extend the TIA for all banks that have signed the TIA, especially those rescued banks, is going to augur well for the markets. And we expect to have a very strong impact and positive influence, not just on the industry, but also on the capital markets too.
Now, Linus, we've seen inflation figures coming through overnight and a much better picture in terms of CPI for June of 2011 coming in at 10.2. It's better than May, 12.4. How's that going to impact on the Central Bank's Monetary Policy Committee as they make decisions on interest rates next week?
Yeah, you see, it was a gladdening news that the June figure for inflation came down to 10.2 from about 12.4% that was witnessed in May. And as CBN meets by Monday next week, we expect this development to have a significant impact in their decision. But it's not only just inflation that is coming down that is going to determine the policy direction that we expect from CBN on Monday when the Monetary Policy Committee meets. We also expect them to take into consideration other variables like the value of the Naira. It's also a key component in tackling the decision. And also the liquidity level in the economy is also going to play a significant impact in the decision the MPC is going to take, especially in view of the fact that about 70% of government revenue has been going into the recurrent expenditure. And we expect them to also take into consideration, the impact of imported inflation and even possible rise in food prices. So at the end of the day, we expect, a marginal hike in the MPC decision towards increase the MPR, when they meet on Monday, or probably leave it flat at 8% currently.